Hello everyone and welcome to the new edition and also the last edition for this session of the Wheel of Destiny. And as you can see, the winner for this Wheel of Destiny is Mami from Madoka Magica, or if you really want to be fancy, Puella Madoka Magica. Please don't roast me too hard. Before we talk about the actual content of this video, I want to quickly remind everyone that if you like what I do artistically, you can commission me. I will leave links in the description below as always if you want me to draw characters, OCs, whatever it is. Just nothing in SFW if you could. Second thing I want to say is that I have an Instagram now, which doesn't really mean much. I'm probably not going to post too much on that site because I had to realize that you can't actually post the entire picture unless it's formatted the way it is, and that you can't actually post anything from the laptop. You have to post it from your phone, so it's very obvious that this is more done for people who make a lot of selfies or just a lot of photos on their travels. So I'm probably just going to post my cat most of the time. So if you want cat pictures, well, that's your site. Also, considering what happened today, I want to give a quick PSA if I already have the opportunity to. I went today to get my vitamin B12 shot because I am a spoiled brat and a very picky eater, and let me tell you, it kind of hurts, and if you really don't like needles, you should really make sure you eat your veggies and fruits. It's not worth being picky about it. Please eat your veggies. It hurts like a bitch. Now let's actually talk about the content today. Now if you're not familiar with Madoka Magica, you can probably still guess what it is about. I mean, it's kind of in the title somewhat, and it's also pretty obvious to see from the posters of the series. But in case you don't know, it's a magical girl series. See, I'm not actually someone who watches magical girl anime all that much. I once watched this American anime, I guess you could say, of the Witch series that kind of counts as a magical girl series. I even read some of the comics, but not all that much. I watched a cartoon of it a little bit, and the only anime I watched that could technically be counted as a magical girl anime also had guys who turn into magical boys, I guess, so I'm not sure if that even counts as a magical girl anime. What was it called? Shugochara or something? I'm pretty sure I put it on the list of things I know, so, but it's been a long time. I don't think I watched a lot of it now that I think about it. So when it comes to magical girl anime, I haven't really watched any, and yes, that means I have never watched Sailor Moon, and I'm probably never going to because it just doesn't seem interesting to me whatsoever. I've seen some clips that indicated that it can get really dark at times, but I'm just not really into that whole thing where it has to be specifically magical girl, if you get what I mean. Like, I like it when it's a bit balanced with genders, I think. It's, like, I don't like it when it's just guys, I don't like it when it's just girls. I like it when there is a little bit of variety in the middle of it, so I don't know. Maybe it's just me. When I heard of Madoka Magica, I heard a lot how it is supposedly subverting the genre of magical schoolgirl anime. And this probably doesn't make a lot of sense for someone like me to watch it because I wouldn't really know what they would subvert. I had somewhat of an idea what magical girl anime was about. Like, it's supposed to be like, oh, we're a super team of super powered girls who have to transform and are fighting crimes. And I mean, that's kind of what Madoka Magica is as well, but it has a dark turn to it. And so how do I explain this the best way possible? If I messed something up in the summary, I'm sorry. I haven't watched the series in a while. The moment I saw who was picked, I did watch the Rebellion movie, which I hadn't watched before, but I might mess things up, so I apologize for certain inaccuracies. So the story is about Madoka, a middle schooler who encounters these, I think they were called witches. It's not really the traditional kind of witch that you'd think of. Like, it's not a person, it's more like a very abstract. Actually, yes, let's describe it like that. It's just abstract art all over the place. That's basically what witches are. What the hell is this series? It has a lot of very interesting backgrounds, which I really, really love. But back to, like, the summary. Madoka and I think her name was Psycho, the blue-haired girl. They both then get into a situation where they encounter a witch, and in that encounter they also meet Mami, the person I'm drawing here, who is also a magical girl. Later on we also find out how magical girls are basically born. So the way it works is that you have to have a wish that you want to fulfill, and this cat thing, that alien thing that calls itself the incubator, which is a really normal name of course, can grant you those wishes, but in return you become a magical girl. And when you first hear that, you kind of think, oh, that is a positive thing then, killing two birds with one stone. You could say, like, who wouldn't want to be a magical girl? Well, this is where the spoilers come in. So if you have not left yet and wanted to hear the summary of the series, this is your last warning. This is where the actual spoilers begin. So first of all, as much as we don't actually see too much in the first two episodes what it means to be a magical girl, in the third episode I don't exactly remember what happens, but we get some character moment from Mami where she's like feeling a bit alone and hiding behind this really relaxed facade. In reality she's really scared. And then after talking with Madoka, she gets the strength of knowing that there are people behind her, that there's people to protect. What I think happens is that she faces the witch, basically, and thinks that she hits with one of her fucking shotguns. Like, holy hell, I fucking love her powers. This is so amazing with all these shotguns. Fucking great. However, what then happens, I think, is that instead of dying, obviously, the witch kind of transforms into this long worm thing. Yeah, basically that thing transforms, and the last thing you see is Mami's body hanging on the air, basically indicating that she went a little bit ahead of herself. She got decapitated. This is where things basically go a little bit to shit. So, the moment I saw the third episode, actually it was kind of funny because the first two episodes I was really not convinced of the series. I really was about to drop it. But after the third episode and Mami died, that was when I realized that this series wasn't going to be very happy, and I fucking loved that idea. And throughout the series, Madoka always has to confront these situations where she thinks that maybe this would be a good time to finally get the wish and maybe become a magical girl herself, but always that one character, I think her name was Homura, always stops her because Homura wants to prevent Madoka from transforming into a magical girl, because if she does and finally enters into despair, basically, she would turn into the most powerful witch because of how many times she has tried to prevent the transformation. And it's really interesting that it turns out that these witches are actually magical girls who got into so much despair and negativity that they suddenly turn into witches that they can't transform back from, and it's really good. As you can probably tell, I don't remember much from the series. I only remember a few details, like Psycho, I don't remember, has a few issues with her friend who she has a crush on, but her best friend, but one of her friends is dating him instead, and realizes how she's actually selfish and not selfless as she tried to make herself out to be. How Homura has a boner for Madoka, like, let's be honest, that's just two lesbians right there. And fucking Madoka. Okay, I really do like the series, but Madoka is one of the most annoying characters I have ever seen. Like, one of the most annoying protagonists I have ever seen. And to me, when the protagonist annoys me, to me that's a major flaw in a story. I know this sounds weird and most people concentrate more on the side characters rather than the main character, but for me, the main character plays a massive role in if I like a series or not. And Madoka is so insanely naive. Like, okay, I don't remember what the red-haired girl's name was, but I remember her philosophy was that it was okay to, like, hunt down other magical girls so that she could keep energy into her egg thing or something, and Saika was in the opinion that this was wrong and that no one should die just to gain energy from another, that people have to work together. And then there's Madoka, who thinks that they have to maybe have a conversation, that fighting is not good. And look, I am a pacifist myself. I don't think violence is ever the answer. But fucking talking to someone who commits genocide towards all magical girls, that's just something you can't rationalize with. Like, you're trying to find common grounds with a murderer. That's basically what she was doing, and it's so insanely annoying. I know I really shouldn't put this much emphasis on the protagonist, but the protagonist is there to carry the story, right? And to me, it's important if I like the main character or not. This is why I really hated Captain Marvel. Now let's talk a little bit about Mami as a character. Obviously, I can't really talk much about her because, well, she doesn't really appear much in the anime. She's there for like 3 episodes, and I heard that the first movie even had less screen time with her. So it's kind of a shame, because when I watched Rebellion, she was such a cool character. Like, she had such cool guns, such cool shotguns and weaponry to just shoot at everywhere. It was so fucking insane. I really like her, and personally speaking, I can understand why someone wanted me to draw her, because her design is so amazing. Like, out of all the magical girls, her design is probably the most appealing one. Maybe Saika a second, but definitely Mami has the best design, which is so sad and so frustrating because of how she's just dead in the first minutes of the series and in the first movie. So I was really excited to watch Rebellion because you actually got to see a bit more of her. Not that much more, but you saw something. I really wish they had shown her a little bit more character growth, or at least a little bit more of her, because she really seems like an interesting character to me. Anyway, let's talk a little bit about the main attraction of this video, which is the piece. Oh boy, that piece. Okay, so let's talk about the bad things about the piece first, because I kind of want to talk about them first. The perspective of the gun is just really bad, and it was only later in the coloring stage or something where I noticed that the gun looks a little bit different from the right than how I drew it from the left, because that's the reference I mostly looked at. I completely forgot about the fact that it looks a little different from the other side, but screw it, I just wanted to copy paste the fucking gun, okay? Another thing I really don't like about the piece is that one leg going up. I really wanted to like the leg, I really do, but I just noticed at some point in the middle of it that the leg is way too long. I think the way it happened was that I wanted her to twist her back more, but for some reason when I started sketching more into details, I somehow missed that. This is a problem I have. I'm a bit afraid of twisting her back. I'm just really scared to mess up certain anatomy mistakes with that, and by being afraid of that, I made another anatomy mistake. So congratulations, I am a winner. I solved the problem by causing another one. Congratulations, yeah, great. As you might know from the series, the witches, or whenever there's like, the witches always look like there is a scrap pictures plastered onto it, or just a giant amount of abstract art flying around, and I kind of tried to simulate that, but I'm not the greatest at abstract art. I really tried to use composition in this piece, but I wouldn't call it a massive success, but at least I tried. It's also only later where I realized that I missed even more details about the gun, but then I just thought, screw it, I don't know how to draw guns, let's just leave it at that. I did have fun drawing the hair though. I really had fun with it. It was the first time I drew this kind of swirly hair. Okay, not exactly the first time, but the first time it actually looks good. So I really like how it turned out. And I also like just the clothing in general. Like, the clothing is just great. I also want to say that I've gotten a little bit better, or at least a bit more confident about perspective, like the arm thing. I feel like I am getting a bit better at understanding it. It still looks a little bit wonky, and the other arm is I'm pretty sure the other arm is a little bit too short, but you know, gotta balance out that one leg that is too long. So, did I put any symbolism on that piece as well? Well, I was a bit confused how I could put some symbolism in there or some metaphors, but I think we all understand what the stripe going across her head is supposed to symbolize. I think we're all aware where I was alluding here to, so if you don't, you might want to watch the series. Or maybe I messed up. Or maybe I did everything wrong. Maybe I'm just a failure. Why am I even trying anymore? Anyway, so as always, I am going to upload the proper speed paints of each of the Wheel of Destiny videos. So if you didn't like me talking, at least you get to see the speed paint of it. Tell me what you think about the piece. Follow me on Instagram if you want to see my cat. I do commissions. Just saying. I hope you're having a good day. And Welp. See you next time.